In this episode, we are headed into Washington to an unspoiled valley deep within the Olymppic National Forest. This is a beautiful rainforest that gets roughly 150 inches of rain a year and provides great nourishment for the variety of beautiful trees within this forest. This is a popular backpacking route that follows the Quinault River up to a basin famous for its waterfalls, bear sightings, and of course, the Enchanted Valley Chalet. Now let's start off with the trail review, which begins by crossing over a pack bridge high above Graves Creek. This hike is a 13.5 mile out and back trip that can take anywhere from 2 to 3 days to complete. The trail does start off on an old road that climbs steadily for a mile, all while you are surrounded by a deep, thick forest of Sitka spruce and red cedars. The climbing eventually does stop when you arrive at an old picnic table in which the trail narrows to a potential creek trail. Water-resistant boots are highly recommended for this trail. As you head down to the Quinault River, you will start to see lovely waterfalls in the far distance and will quickly approach Pony Bridge. Here you can find more falls and a gorge that showcases a turquoise-colored water caused by glacier silt. At this point, you will hike on a trail full of huckleberries, all while crossing many creeks, taking you down to the Quinault River. Here you will start to notice that campgrounds sporadically show up. Just keep in mind there is no bear lines here at these sites, so bear canisters are highly recommended. After 4 miles of hiking from Pony Bridge, which seems to be the longest part of this hike due to the ever-changing elevation in this section, you will then eventually approach O'Neill Creek, which is a great place to take a break or set up camp at one of their sites down on the Quinault. The trail will now continue on the Quinault River for the next 2.5 miles to the next good site at Pirates Creek. On your way, you will approach No Name Creek, which has a neat little bridge crossing, and shortly after you will stumble upon a few campgrounds, which means you've made it to Pirates. This part of the hike can be challenging for those hikers setting out before May 1st. The bridge here seems to get washed out during the early spring, and it's not rebuilt typically until the reservation season, which starts in May. We were lucky enough to find these fallen trees and utilize them as a bridge crossing. However, keep in mind that you may be required to cross this creek without a bridge, so it is wise to be prepared with the appropriate attire. After crossing this creek, you will notice additional camping sites which appear to be a little bit more spread out. So with that said, we decided to make this base camp. One of the nice things about both O'Neill and Pirates is that there are pretty decent bear lines set up for you to hang your scented items, which we promptly did. Since we came in the rainy season to avoid the crowds, it was critical that we set up some tarps for protection and of course a fire to keep us warm. The only thing was to take in the views of the valley ahead while listening to the crackle of a fire at our feet. Once morning has arrived, we were blessed with a large herd of elk just outside our tent doors, which was something I was looking forward to all day. It was now time to do something fun and enjoyable about backpacking, and that is getting creative with food. On this morning, we brought enough food to make some amazing breakfast burritos, and it certainly was great fuel to get us through the day.
How's that?
That's okay.
Is that good for you?
Yeah,
For you guys?
That should be good there.
Well, we just left Pirates Creek. It was a pretty good night at base camp. A little bit of rain, but not as bad as we expected. We're actually now headed for a quick day hike up to Enchanted Valley, which is a 4-mile hike just to get there. They have a little bit of elevation gain, but nothing too significant. It's nice to lighten up the bag and kind of enjoy the day. We've had some reports that there's some beautiful waterfalls out there right now, as well as some chances to see bears. So we're hoping to get a glimpse of that.
In this stretch, you will start to see a few large trees have fallen due to their massive size. In fact, the largest recorded western hemlock in the world is at the southern end of the valley. As you climb and dip through the forested knolls, a few campgrounds will sporadically pop up. Just know there are no bear lines out here, and you will probably start seeing them in the meadows, like this beautiful black bear that was foraging for food. Once you approach this gate, the Valley of 10,000 Falls, also known as Enchanted Valley, is just right through the tree line. We just need to cross over the Quinault to the south bank via this one-arm suspension bridge.
There's gorgeous.
It's now just a fourth of a mile from this bridge, and the Enchanted Valley Chalet welcomes us to the valley. This valley is certainly a sight to see, where it showcases the Olypmpic Peninsula's subalpine meadows, glacier-capped summits, and rocky alpine slopes, like Chimney Peak, which looms in the far distance. One of the more popular features here are the waterfalls, and if you come in the early spring, you will see these chutes release small and large avalanches down their 4,000-foot slopes. Today, we just got a trickle. You can also get some really good opportunities to see mountain goats high up in the cliffs, and binoculars are a must to see these fascinating animals up close. The chalet, built in 1931, was open until 1943 before it was turned over to the national park, and was used as a backcountry ranger station and shelter for hikers. Natural erosion has carved out some of the foundation and threatens its existence. However, in 2014, it was moved to a safer location within the valley. If you continue to the northern side of the valley, you will see more cascading falls, and campgrounds will show up along the river and a few throughout the inlands. They also have an outhouse and a few bear lines within the valley for food storage. Once you cross this small creek, you will approach a field full of red huckleberries and salmonberries. However, you may be competing with the black bears as they enjoy these snacks in the ripening months. Once you reach the river again, you will see Mount Anderson in the far distance, which is where we decided to turn back. I hear, though, it is quite the adventure to head up to the Anderson Pass, which we'll leave for another day. As we head back to base camp, I couldn't help but to realize how incredibly beautiful this place truly is. There are few places like this left in the world where you can get so close to so much beauty, all while having wild animals like these black bears surround you.
That is amazing.
Once we arrived back at base camp, the rainforest started to speak its true language, rain. We also noticed that the day prior, a crew was working on the bridge at Pirates Creek, so we were curious to take a look at how these footbridges are truly created. It was only partly done, but I was certainly impressed with what I saw.
Wow.
At this point, we were happy to get off our feet and get the final fire going for the night. We also were able to get some delicious pasta dinner on the stove. All that was really left was to listen to the rain, and the fire crackled the night away.
Flip it, you can try to the side.
The next morning, we were blessed with some snow, which is not abnormal in the spring. We quickly packed up our gear and started the 9+ miles back in what we knew would be a very wet trip. The thought of a warm truck and the sighting of elk on the way home pushed us forward. I have to say though that this hike may just be one of my favorite backpacking trips for a variety of reasons. However, after hiking almost 10 miles in the rain and snow, it was nice to be finished. This is certainly a must-do trail if you're looking to see some wild animals at a safe distance, and if you don't mind the rain, I recommend coming in the spring before the crowds. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick review, and as always, happy hiking.